What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel today. Today, as we had already spoke of, is going to be a disassembly video on the R1 project. So we are going to start off today by removing the seat, removing the plastics, and start breaking this thing down because we know we got a lot of work to do. In the previous video, we talked about having to do the transmission work and engine work, work on the brakes, wiring work, work with different handlebars, maybe even a rear peg delete because again we don't use the rear seat, and a few other things. So let's go ahead and move forward. I'm going to start by taking off this seat, some of the body panels, windscreen, headlights, and all that, and let me show you what it looks like when it's all off. Alright, so there's the fairings all removed and put off to the side. So let's go ahead and kind of dig down into this thing and take a look at it. I thought this wiring was some kind of bootleg for the LEDs, but it's not. This is actually for a power outlet, which was pretty coolly mounted in there. The wire just wasn't running really well, so no big deal. We'll take care of that. If we keep that, we do. If we don't, whatever. But you can kind of see there is, I ripped a lot of them out, but there's little LEDs that are kind of everywhere here. In fact, you can probably see them down here. That's all going to get ripped off right now. First things first, so I'm going to take off this tank. We're going to look at what's underneath the tank. Just kind of a background from what the previous owners told me about this bike. Supposedly, and this is what I was told, that the bike had dynoed at 191 horsepower and like 82 pounds of torque, which seems like a lot, but apparently that's what it was dynoed at. Right now, like I said, it's got that shorty exhaust, it's got a K&N airbox, and a power commander which has a pretty aggressive tune on it. So in fact, it's tuned so much that it backfires flames. So for what it is, that's what I'm told it's sitting at right now. Again, I don't know the truth to that, but we'll just kind of run with it and say it is what it is. Anyhow, I want to take this tank off, see what's underneath it, see what that engine looks like on the top. Obviously, if we look at this thing, you know, it's an older bike, so it's dirty, it needs to be cleaned up. And one of the things I'll be doing, and it looks like somebody else kind of started, is they painted the side, but I want the whole thing black. I want this whole engine to be solid black. There's no need to have a silver head on it. Even the block on the bottom, that's all going to get cleaned up and painted black to match the rest of the bike, and hopefully we will do that on the pegs as well. Now, I don't want to snake you guys. I did tell you that as far as design, what I was thinking about doing the triple blue pearl, not Yamaha, original Yamaha, because that's kind of a bluish purple, but more of a it's kind of a light metallic blue pearl with the fluorescent yellow wheels and accessories to go with it, and then maybe some blue anodized stuff to kind of match in. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. I think it would look cool. I know it would have looked good on the R6. In fact, it's a lot like the Telefonica series with the GSX-Rs back in the mid-2000s. So just probably no red or whatever. It'd probably stick with maybe a white, the yellow, and the blue. But let me know what your thoughts are. Like I said, just we'll get everything black to give it a little bit newer look. Get these wheels blasted and cleaned up and all of the ribbon off them. And like I said, get this tank off. Like I said, I think this was maybe like lacquer painted from Advanced Auto Parts or something. I'm not sure, but it's going to have to be redone regardless. So we're going to go ahead and move forward with that. But it gives you kind of an idea of what the bike looks like underneath. Nothing special, just needs a little bit of work. Definitely needs some cleaning. Here's some of the wires that I found that all go to the LEDs, so that's all getting ripped out of there. So let's go ahead and move forward and get that tank off. Alright, so that tank is off. As you can see, there's the fuel pump. It's got that same stupid plastic fuel pump that they had on the R6, so I'm going to have to make sure that I'm extremely careful with that, because we all know that they snap very easy and they're very expensive to replace. That said, let's check out the bike. So here's the bike, and boy, this bike is dirty, dirty. I mean, look at that thing. So I think what we're going to do right now, I am going to rip out all this wiring for the LEDs and make sure all the LEDs are taken off. But then I'm going to pull this thing outside and I'm going to pressure wash the crap out of this thing because it is absolutely disgusting, filthy. And I don't want to work on it that way. Nobody wants to have their hands in grease the whole time. So if I can get most of that off prior to disassembly, it'll be cleaner for me, cleaner for you guys on the screen, having to see going through all this dirty stuff. So let me go ahead and, like I said, get that wiring out and get this thing pressure washed and show you what she looks like afterwards. Alright guys, so it cleaned up pretty good, I guess. Looking underneath the most important part that I was trying to get clean, which was underneath the seat and underneath the tank, you can see that it was like all dirt brown, like somebody went through the desert or something, I don't know. But it's cleaned up pretty well. And if you look underneath here, see a couple things that are kind of off. I look at a I guess that's a vacuum tube. It looks like it probably goes right there to the bottom of the airbox. I'm not sure why that's plugged off. Maybe you guys can help me out on that. Obviously I plugged off this fuel line with a bolt, but I see a couple other lines like this one here that is unplugged. Now I didn't think this model here had an airbox valve like the Honda did, so I'm not sure why those lines are unplugged, if it has something to do with the tune through the DynoJet custom tune or what. Anyhow, I just happened to notice that that was out of place. The rest of the bike cleaned up okay. I'm not going to say it was fantastic. There's a little discoloration, and in fact, looking at the oil window, it looks like it's probably officially stained, so when we pull that bottom end apart, we will clean that window so it's viewable again. So anyhow, but you can kind of see it's going to get painted anyways, but it's still a little bit filthy. I got most of the grease off and all that. So that part's cleaned up, which whatever. Same over here. Most of it came off. There's still a little bit of dirt staining that really isn't going to come off unless you scrub it with Dawn dish soap and a scrub rag or brush, which you can't get in there really, so it's not worth it. When the engine is out though, we will clean it up the best we can and do a little bit of painting so it'll look better. The wheels are kind of rough again, so there's not a lot I can do. I can see there's a lot of paint chipping and stuff on them. How to give a better idea what I'm talking about. Take a look at this one here. You can kind of see it's pretty rough. So I will probably have those sandblasted and then either powder coated or I'll spray them out. I prefer powder coating because if we look at good old R6 here, it has a couple little chip marks. I don't know if I can find them when I had to mount the tires because it was obviously a base clear, not a hardened paint like having something painted the other way. So anyhow, moving forward, what we're going to do now, we know that we do have to make this not green for many reasons. And again, as I showed you, I have to take that out and replace that. I have to do something else with this wiring here. And also, we have to change the bar ends, or the clip-ons, whatever you want to call them, handlebars. This way, it's actually a lot easier by just popping off the upper triple clamp. Rather than having to jack it up and lower down the shocks. Since we have to do that stuff anyways, it'll just make it easier to do that all at once. So we'll get that done. And next step, I am about to remove the rear passenger pegs right now, the rear tire hugger, and the front fender. And I think that is going to complete this video. But let's go ahead and get that done and show you what it looks like when it's all done. Alright guys, so we got the rear hugger and the front fender off. I was going to cut it there, but I'm kind of curious as to what's underneath this airbox, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that off and show you what's underneath it. Alright guys, so here's the airbox. As you can see, that is not a K&N, that is a orange OEM filter. No big deal, whatever, not a big deal, we'll get a new one for it. Here is the lower airbox. This is where it gets interesting. It looks like some kind of custom fab DIY ram air kit. Now, I don't know what these originally came with. I never took apart my old R2, so it might be different. Maybe they come with this. If you look down, it was kind of down into the duct. So whoever built it actually did a decent job. It's definitely ugly, and it could be painted black to make it look a little better. I mean, unfortunately, you don't see it, but no big deal. Nonetheless, it's functional, so that's what we care about. And here is what we got underneath. And from what I can see, everything looks pretty straightforward. If you look down here, the only thing that I see out of order, there's a crack, if you can even see it here, inside the upper radiator plastic. It was probably in an accident at some point, I'm sure. But I don't see anything else that's out of order, out of the ordinary, with the exception of these weird block-offs for the vacuum system. So I think the next step is going to have to be to take this motor out. And obviously to do that, we got to disconnect wiring and coils and all that. Our cables, clutch cable, throttle cable, all that stuff. Get the exhaust off and drop it. That's going to be for the next video. So that said, this video is a wrap. If you guys found this video good or useful, please throw a thumbs up. Let us know that you appreciate it. If you're not already, please subscribe, as I always say. And if you're looking to get these videos right when they come out, go ahead and click that bell notification just down on the right as well. That said, we appreciate you watching. Talk with you soon.